Jay here from Stretford Paddock. This is the Paper Talk. As you can see, I'm in the studio. You know what to do. We're live, so get involved in the chat and the comments. Let us know what you think about all the latest Manchester United news. There's loads of stories to get through. We've got new contracts being signed. We've got talks underway with a defender. We've got the latest on the bids and what's happening there with the takeover. And are the Glazers going to sell? There's some sort of intrigue there. We'll get into all that. So make sure you are joining us and getting involved as well. And hit that like button if you're not doing it already. Loads of people already in the chat as well. I see Glenn F, I see Joy Coyer Trot, I see Jake Harvey, James Kelland, a few other people as well saying hello, good morning, good to see you all there. I think I was on there when I think I got caught unawares. Apologies there. Producer Joe says, Joe Smith's doing the producing, he says we'll trim that, don't worry. So you got a little preview of what you will see and others won't later on. Anyway, let's get into it. First things first, obviously, let's talk about Luke Shaw. He's just signed a new deal, a new 4-year deal, keeping him at the club till what year are we in? 2027. Makes a lot of sense, this, for me. Listen, Luke Shaw, I think it's easy to forget that there were times when some of us, and myself included, doubted Luke Shaw because he's having a very good season and because we know he is a very good player. But there was a time when you looked at him and you thought, is he up to it? Is he got the consistency you need? And I think he's one of those players who always seems to need some form of motivation, whether that's someone vying for his place, a little bit of sort of like competition, shall we say. Because if you look over the last sort of 6 or 7 years, there has been times when another left-back has come into the fray and has challenged him for that spot, whether that's Brandon Williams, who was about 18 at the time, whether that's Alex Tellez, whether it's Tyrell Malacia. Let's not forget, after, I think it was the Brentford game, Malacia came in, Shaw was dropped, and then we saw Shaw come back in and play some of the best football of his career. He's one of those players that does that. But when he is on form, he is arguably the best left-back in the league. I think his ceiling is so high. He's such a talented player. We know what he's capable of. We just need to see it on a consistent basis. We have seen a lot more consistency this season, and I think it's a good thing. He's signing a deal. He's been at the club since, I think, 2014. He's only 27, so a 4-year deal takes him up to... He's obviously 31. Makes a lot of sense for me, that one. We just want to see Luke Shaw playing for United and playing consistently because I still have a little bit of a worry sometimes. I'm not going to lie to you that he can go off the boil. But I think with Eric Ten Hag, who is getting the best out of him, with the fact we've got Tyrell Malacia as backup as well, or someone to actually challenge him for his place, then hopefully we can see the best from Luke Shaw. And this is a bit of a no-brainer for me, this one. Getting him signed to a long-term deal, I don't have an issue with it at all. I think it makes a lot of sense. Like I said, it takes him up to when he's 31. This isn't giving a 30-year-old a 5-year deal or anything like that, or an unproven youngster a long-term deal. This is an established Manchester United first-team player, one of the best in his position, an England international if you care about that sort of thing, and someone who's not really at his peak yet. He's also someone as well, it's worth mentioning, who has bounced back from a very serious injury. Remember that injury he picked up in the Champions League under Louis van Gaal. So, fair play to him, get him signed, long-term deal, makes a lot of sense. Let us know what you think about this. What do you think about Luke Shaw? Are you glad he signed a deal? Is anyone questioning this? Is there anyone out there who's going, why have you done that? I don't think there would be. I might be wrong. Let us know. Glenn F says, that's great news. He's to hope he doesn't drop off now he's got a new contract, and I think he's changed his mentality these days. Sebastian Guy says, good morning, Jay from Stretford Paddock, founder member John in Melbourne, ex-Newton Heath. Good morning. The Kisler says, can't believe he's been here for nearly 10 years. Yeah, he has been here a long time. It does surprise you sometimes. It almost goes under the radar, doesn't it? I think it was King Dino who says, morning, Jay, Glazers out. Always Glazers out. But yeah, let's get into that actually. Let's talk about the Glazers because there's this sort of story doing the rounds here. I've seen it in The Guardian. There's a couple of other papers that have picked it up as well. The could be a twist in the tail here. Manchester United bidders let's get that right. Manchester United bidders wait amid fear Glazers may cite banking crisis to stay. So there is this banking crisis. We've seen banks sort of struggling. There was the bank that went under recently as well. So there's this worry or this fear that this could be a reason why the Glazers try and pull a fast one and say, actually, we're going to stay because there's a banking crisis going on. We're not getting the money that we need or that we want, so we're not going to sell. I've always said the same thing when it comes to this sale, Manchester United sale now, that I believe the Glazers are going to sell. I think they will get the money that they want, or certainly not that they deserve from either Sir Jim Ratcliffe or Sheikh Jassim, and they'll end up moving on. But this is something to keep your eye on, because when you hear little stories like that, it is a little bit concerning, because you've waited so long for the Glazers to go. We want them to go. Then you hear things like that and you worry, don't you? You're like, oh no, what? Please don't tell me this is going to happen. Just getting into it, it just says here, with the cost of borrowing rising, any offer involving debt is becoming more expensive, and if this makes Ratcliffe more conservative, the Glazers may not get the bidding war they hoped for and could argue their demands were not met. In a sign of turbulence, last month, Silicon Valley Bank became the largest US bank to collapse since 2008, and Credit Suisse was taken over for a price well below its market value. So there's all sorts of shenanigans going on in the financial markets, and this article is saying that maybe that will give the Glazers an excuse not to sell, especially when you look at, I think it was the Elliott Management Group who was saying that they could help to sort of fund the Glazers staying, or there was reports saying that there could be a way that the Glazers stay if this is a minority stake is bought or whatever, and that helps fund the rebuild of Old Trafford, then maybe the Glazers don't have to go. Listen, I think there'll be all sorts going on if the Glazers didn't sell. I think you'd see protests like you've never seen before. We have seen some protests, haven't we, at Old Trafford and online as well over the last few years, but I think the response will be absolutely biblical from Manchester United fans, especially when you look at what's on offer there, and a lot of people are excited at the prospects of either Sir Jim Ratcliffe coming in or Sheikh Jassim, people that are promising to, redevelop the stadium, to invest in the team. You're seeing all this, you're thinking we could have owners that are ready to spend some money, not owners that are ploughing us into £900 million worth of debt, which is what the Glazers have done. So if they were to then go, actually, we're going to stay, I think the response would be unbelievable. I really do. Get involved in the chat in the comments. Let us know what you think. Does anyone have any concerns? Does anyone think, oh, this could be, them trying to pull a fast one? Or do you think this is just people looking at it and going, putting two together and coming up with five? Let's have a look here, what people are saying. Mr. says, if we had decent midfielders, our right-backs would be okay. I'm going to get into the right-back thing in the morning. Solo in the chat from the United Agenda says, good morning, Jay. If you've not done so, go and check out the United Agenda. Louis says, saw a lot of Frimpong at Celtic. If you think the low can't defend, wait until you see this guy. Witterbird says, good morning, Jay. Hope it's lovely and sunny in Manchester. I didn't do a weather report, actually, did I? It is actually quite sunny today. It's getting a little bit warmer in Manchester. It's quite, surprising. We're in April and it's sunny. Let's talk about, just before we get into the Frimpong thing, let's talk about Sheikh Jassim, because there's a report here in the Manchester Evening News that Sheikh Jassim wants marquee names amid Glazers' credit card claim. Now, this credit card claim is this thing that they've got this £300 million credit card or whatever it is that they've been using to pay for transfers, and that they're going to pay that off. Now, Sheikh Jassim, who has been sort of heavily linked with the takeover of Manchester United, is the bookies' favourite to take over as the new owner, because he's got deeper pockets than Sir Jim Ratcliffe. That's, we don't know. There might be a twist in the tail. It might end up being Sir Jim Ratcliffe, who's obviously Britain's richest man, but Sheikh Jassim does seem to have access to some of the Qatari funds, which just makes him, his wealth almost, non-stop, basically, doesn't it? It just means he's, it's almost infinite. So this report is saying that Sheikh Jassim wants marquee names. He wants some big names. Now, listen, I love transfers, you know that. Everyone loves a transfer. We all love big signings. There is something in this story that doesn't worry me a little bit. And this is that Sheikh Jassim bin Hamad Al Thani will reportedly want to be in the conversation regarding signing marquee players such as Jude Bellingham this summer, should the Qatari banker become the club's new owner. And this is from a CBS report. Ben Jacobs claimed this. Now, I don't have a problem with marquee names. I don't have a problem with big signings. I love him. What you don't want is an owner who's going to start getting involved too much, because we've seen it a little bit at PSG, where you can sort of, it sounds crazy to say you can spend too much money or you can buy too many big name players, but sometimes you can. Sometimes you can have it where it just upsets the balance. I think all the signings should be down to the manager. Yes, support him. Yes, have a scouting department, and yes, help get the transfers over the line that he wants. And, there's nothing wrong with having a director of football or a CEO or someone who signs off on the deals. You need all that sort of stuff. But what I don't want is an owner coming in and going, right, I want him, I want him, I want him. If that's not what the manager wants, and that's not who the manager wants, the manager has to have the final say. He's the one picking the team. He's the one doing the tactics. So, yeah, that does worry me a little bit. get involved in the chat and the comments. Let us know what you think. Are you bothered? The Kisler, welcome to the first team. If you're not done, check out the members section as well. We've got extra content now in the members section. Always appreciate the support we have from our members. Make sure as well you are hitting that like button, please. Let's get to 100 likes. What are we on at the minute? 57 likes. Come on, people. We can do better than that. Sebastian Guy says, can't see them staying. Talk about the Glazers. They'd have to spend money that's desperately needed on Old Trafford and Carrington. They won't borrow money to spend. They only want money out of United that they can have for themselves. Agree. They do only want money for themselves. And it is really annoying to me as well, the fact that they are going to walk away with so much profit, so much money when they've never spent anything on the club. They've never invested anything. Any money that's been spent on players has been the money the club's generated. We've left us in all this debt, 900 odd million quid's worth of debt. They've taken out dividends and they've absolutely just been a horror show for Manchester United. Just completely mismanaged the club from start to finish. Got away with it for so many years because of Sir Alex Ferguson, but the last sort of 9 years has been patchy at best, hasn't it, really? And a big part of that is because the Glazers don't know what they're doing, and they put people in charge of the football side of things who didn't know what they were doing either. The likes of Ed Woodward, who hasn't got a jar of glue when it comes to football. He's an investment banker, and he ended up becoming the most important person at the club. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. And now, thankfully, we've got a manager in Erik ten Hag, who I think is truly gifted, who knows what he's doing. We just need to get owners in who are going to back him properly. That's my main concern with the owners. Come in, spend money, whatever, but you have to back this manager properly, and I don't think sort of sticking your nose in who he should buy is the way forward. Just give him the funds to get the players in he needs and he wants. That's what I want to see at Manchester United. Should we talk about Jeremy Frimpong? Because this is a kid who's been linked with us a little bit. There was a tweet that went out now last night, I think it was, from Florian Plettenberg, a friend of the channel. He's been on the channel a few times. He's a good guy, knows his stuff when it comes to German football. He says talks between his agent, Frimpong talks between his agent and Jeffrey Lemmer and Man United have started. Exclamation mark. First round was very positive. Ten Hag admires the player. Frimpong is open to leave Leverkusen in the summer. Contract until 2025. So he also says top season of the 22-year-old. I think it's 8 goals and 9 assists. Some numbers, aren't it, for a defender? We've got some stats here because producer Joe loves his stats. He does. That's why me and him work well together, because I don't know anything and he loves his stats. So you can see there we've got some stats here. Attacking wise, this kid is phenomenal. He just is. He's like a winger. You know, you look at the sort of the goals, his XG, his assists. I mean, he's in the top sort of 1 or 2% of players, or top 5% at least in most of those stats in the world. He's just an attacking force. Defensively, not quite as good. I'll be honest with you. That's not the strongest part of his game. I mean, he can defend. He's not useless at defending, but he's not amazing at defending. He is amazing going forward. Now, that's the sort of question. Is that what Erik ten Hag wants? Does he want someone who can get hold of that ball and get it up the pitch? Because that's something that United have struggled with our fullbacks, haven't we? That's been a big issue for United this season. We haven't been able to get forward. And when I say our fullbacks, Luke Shaw's actually quite good at it. Wan-Bissaka and Diogo Dalot at times have struggled to sort of progress the ball forward. Jeremy Frimpong, you think, wouldn't struggle with that. But it also throws up the question then, is Frimpong, because he's more of an attacking fullback, does that mean you keep Wan-Bissaka, who is more defensive? So you've got that sort of balance there. So when you're up against a really gifted winger, you go, all right, this one's for you, Aaron. You can start this game. Where most of the games, you'd imagine if Frimpong comes in, he'd be first choice. And is it Dalot that makes way? Or is Frimpong almost like a better version of Dalot, so you have Dalot as the backup? It's an interesting one. Get involved in the chat in the comments. Who would you want to see go if we did bring in Frimpong? Would you rather see Dalot, or would you rather see Wan-Bissaka go? Do you think Frimpong is the right guy for us, or have you got any other ideas? By all means, get involved and hit that like button, people. Santa Nut says, let's not sign a Trent. Yeah, Trent Alexander-Arnold. Glenn F also says TAA. Trent Alexander-Arnold's, he's very, very good going forward. Awful defending. Now, I don't think Jeremy Frimpong is as bad at defending as Trent Alexander-Arnold is. I'll just say that. But I understand that point. You want someone who can do both, really, don't you? So it'll be interesting to see whether Frimpong is good enough defensively to cope in the Premier League. But if the manager wants him, I'm still firmly in the trust in Ten Hag camp. If he's someone that he's looked at and gone, he's my guy, then I ain't got a problem with that at all. And Frimpong, let's face facts, has been linked with United for quite some time now, and he is one of the most spoken about right backs in the world. He is. There's always a lot of noise in there around him, and this sort of, where's he going to go? He's not going to stay at Leverkusen forever. He's young, he's very good. He's very much a modern fullback. Modern fullbacks are sort of well known for more for attacking than defending. So could this work? I think it could. Let us know what you think. Paul Lucas says, a defender that can't defend. The Kisler says, is it something we can fix defending-wise, or are we going to have a Trent issue? Everyone keeps talking about Trent Alexander-Arnold. Unction Studios says, Delo has to go. Luane Music says, Aaron Wan-Bissaka offers something no other fullback does. Delo doesn't. It's a simple choice for me. Seems like, excuse me, I think that Delo's sort of star has dimmed a little bit over the last few months. I remember having these conversations on the channel, in the news, on podcasts, whenever we were talking about Wan-Bissaka and Diogo Dalot, up until around the sort of World Cup time, everyone was like, well, Wan-Bissaka's going. Wan-Bissaka needs to go. He's not really doing it. The manager doesn't fancy him. I can't see him sticking around. It's not really worked out and all the rest of it. But then he's had quite a few good games. Dalot's fallen off a little bit, and it now seems like everyone, almost, not everyone, but almost, the majority of people I interact with seem to prefer Aaron Wan-Bissaka and seem to think Aaron Wan-Bissaka has a future at Manchester United, and it's Dalot the one who's getting questioned. Is that how you're feeling? Let me know what you think. The Kisler says, agree. Sell Dalot, keep Aaron Wan-Bissaka, and Frimpong, I think. Santa Notch says, sounds like a defender that might suit a 3-5-2 more. I remember thinking that about Alex Telles, When we got him, I thought he could suit a 3-5-2. Just didn't work out for him. Witterbird says, Dalot has a World Cup hangover. I agree, he's not been quite the same. Mr. Squarehead1234 says, love you, Jay. Bald, beautiful man. Thank you. Grace Sheridan here says, you can't just sell Dalot because of a few bad games. He was one of the best players before the World Cup. I thought he had a really good run before the World Cup. I remember he had that spell. I think it was the Liverpool game, the Leicester and Southampton games where he was fantastic. I thought those were his 3 best games in a red shirt. His levels haven't been quite as good post-World Cup, but I still like Diogo Dalot. I still think he's a very good player. He's still only young as well. And he does seem to improve, Dalot. He's one of those players who does seem to improve. So, I don't know. It's an interesting one, isn't it? There's sort of pros and cons to both Dalot and Aaron Wan-Bissaka, just as there is with Jeremy Frimpong as well. I don't think any of them are sort of the complete fullback. They're not as good, I don't think anyway, as Luke Shaw is on that left-hand side. Luke Shaw is good going forward and usually is good defending as well. I know he has his moments. We seem to struggle on the right-hand side, don't we? Just before we wrap up as well, there's another story doing the rounds here about another right-back. Now, this is Benjamin Pavard. I saw this in the evening news. This has come from the Athletic, and it says United could look to sign a new right back in the summer. Well, yeah, we've established that. The Athletic reported on the possibility of a new defensive addition and stated interest in Benjamin Pavard. The report says an attacking right back will be on the agenda if Aaron Wan-Bissaka is sold, with initial talks being held over the Bayern Munich fullback. Well, Denzel Dumfries is also of interest. Denzel Dumfries has been linked with us for quite some time. This is a kid from Inter, I think, isn't it? Pavard is a bit of a funny one. Obviously, at Bayern Munich, played quite a few times this season for Bayern Munich. I don't know about that one. Seems a little bit left field. As always, we'll keep you posting and see if there is any truth to it. But I'd be a bit surprised. Witterbird's asking a question here. Does Ronaldo leaving have anything to do with Dalot? Don't think so personally, but it has been mentioned before to me. Does that affect him, or is there any sort of effect that's had? Is that anything to do with it? I'm not so sure. I don't know. I just feel as well with some of these players, the games are thick and fast. Games catch up with you. This, especially if you went to the World Cup like Dalot did and played in the World Cup, because it's not just the amount of games. Every game is huge. At United now, we're in cup competitions where every game is literally a must-win or you're out of the cup. The league games, it's like, we've got to win this league game because if we don't, we're going to drop out of the top 4. We've just dropped out of the top 4, obviously, with Spurs getting that point at Everton last night. I did cheer that Michael Keane goal like it was a United goal. That was a big goal for us, hopefully, anyway. Yeah, it does seem to be like you've got all these games. They're coming thick and fast. You play basically every 3 days. And there's never really a game. Very rarely you have a game where it's like, oh, this one doesn't matter as much. Or this one we can rotate loads of players because we're playing a weak team. Even in the Premier League now, you play anyone. It's a difficult game. You're in the latter stage of the Europa, the latter stage of the FA Cup, and we won the Carabao Cup. So, those games were all important because we wanted to win that trophy drought. So I just wonder whether mentally sometimes that can take its toll, as well as physically. And we've seen it recently in the games that I don't need to go into, but especially away from home. Players who are usually very good have dropped off a little bit. And it's not just Diogo Dalot. I look at Marcus having a bit of a spell where he's not as prolific as he was. Luke Shaw, I've already mentioned. It just feels like, the games are catching up with some of these players. And I do feel for them because it's not like something you can just fix like that. Just make yourself feel fitter. When you've got a game every 3 days and it's must win, it is hard. Hit that like button. We're almost at 100 likes, people. Come on. Don't let me down. You never do. Navoma says, I don't see us getting Pavard. I agree. James Farr says, you and me both. Keane was my hero this morning. SK says, Keane always a red. Yeah, we did a tweet last night of him when he was at Manchester United. Paul Lucas says, we need 2 strikers, 2 midfielders and a centre-back minimum. I mean, we do need a bit of a spending spree, don't we, in the summer? I think I agree with that. We were talking about this, me and Joe were talking about it on the podcast yesterday. Joe McGrath was on it as well. Do you need 2 strikers? Can you afford to just get 1 striker if you are going to have Anthony Martial, or it's unlikely, but if Wout Weghorst stays as your other option? Do you need more? I mean, how likely is it that Manchester United go out and buy strikers? We know how much strikers cost, so it's highly unlikely. We're almost at 100 likes. Keep going, people. Come on, hit that like button. Chat Sports says, no league goals since the World Cup win. Since the Cup win, yeah. We know that. I'm hoping that we're going to put that right against Brentford on Wednesday. We've got the Brentford preview up as well. Me and Joe getting into it, all that stuff, looking at the Brentford game. Going to be a tough one. The only sort of comfort you've got with that is the fact that our home form, thankfully, is a lot better than our away form. Hopefully we can get a win, sort of try and move forward and get this hangover that we've had post-Carabao Cup, post-Anfield as well, of course, done with, and move forward and start getting a bit of a run together, because it's been a bit concerning, hasn't it? There we go. We've hit 100 likes. I'm going to wrap it up there. Thanks to everyone who got involved in the chat and the comments. We're going to be back later on. We've got Uncensored. You've got Joe Smith and Adam McCullough on Uncensored. Make sure as well you are checking out the Paddock podcast from yesterday and the Brentford preview. We're going to be looking ahead to the Brentford game. Another must-win game for Manchester United. They never stop, do they? I'm Jay Moye. This has been the Paper Talk. Thanks for watching.